Séance procedure. We are all familiar with the old stereotype of a séance held in a darkened room. People holding hands in a circle around a crystal ball. Lots of good spooky fun. But this is, of course, a stereotype. It is not entirely inaccurate that many spiritualist séances of a century ago did look and feel a lot like that. Today, a real séance is likely to be a lot more mundane, with few, if any, aspects of the old stereotype present. The term séance is French and means a sitting in the sense that one sits for spirit communication. Today, sitting is the more common term for the practice, but we will use séance because everyone immediately recognizes its essential meaning. In a séance, we seek either the hearts of people we have known, souls who are in need, or spirit guides who are there to aid and guide us. This practice is based upon the belief in the immortality of the soul and the ability of the living to develop psychic abilities to communicate with the spirits. A séance works through the clairvoyance of the sitters. It works best if at least one of the sitters is a developed medium, but all people have and can develop clairvoyance. We have conducted weekly séances during which people who had no previous experience of clairvoyance became quite skilled at receiving messages. Whenever several people are together, they amplify each other's abilities. A developed clairvoyant will strengthen the skills of anyone working with them. Spirit messages are received when the medium is in a trance, either through light magic, in which the medium retains consciousness, or a deep charm. The medium loses consciousness and is unaware of what is happening. A séance can be conducted with only the mediums in light or deep trance, or with everyone present in light magic, depending upon the people's abilities. Although the term séance was popularized by spiritualists, the practice of receiving spirit messages is quite ancient, having been practiced by many ancient peoples through a variety of techniques. Conducting a séance. To conduct a successful séance or spirit work, it is essential to have the right attitude. The emotional and spiritual vibrations are of paramount importance, and if they are off, nothing will work correctly. Working with spirits is not a game. It must be taken seriously and engaged in for the right reasons. A genuine desire for communication, for personal spiritual growth and understanding. It is not spooky or scary and should never be practiced with that expectation or desire, because the universe will tend to give you what you ask for. If you are looking for a scary experience, you may get one, even if only because it is the only one you are in a state to receive. One should also refrain from being judgmental or skeptical during a séance. It is acceptable to analyze and even be unsure of the information received after the séance. Still, it is crucial to avoid this during the séance, as it can disrupt the process. Nor should you ever work with spirits while intoxicated, as this will both tend to warp any communications you receive and may also offend the spirits. Some people like to take a small glass of beer or wine before sitting for spirits, but just enough to relax slightly, never sufficient to intoxicate. Instead, have a respectful attitude and positive expectations. It is the spirit's own decision whether they speak to you or not. Be respectful, and remember that the spirits are not there to serve you, though your guides are there to help you. Your guides being those spirits who are your specific guardians and helpers. Generally, however, if you are drawn to spiritual work, your guides have drawn you. It is best to conduct a séance in a relatively quiet and peaceful atmosphere where there will be no distractions. A skilled medium can communicate anywhere, regardless of what is going on, but beginners can be easily disrupted. The stereotype that a séance must be conducted only in a darkened room is rather silly and always was. However, some people can relax in low light, and relaxation is essential to the process, so you may prefer to eschew bright light, though for an advanced medium, this is irrelevant. One should avoid having too much metal around, as metal tends to conduct energy and may absorb the energy needed for communication. Some people remove metal jewelry, though this is not necessary. It is good to light one or more candles, which will augment the natural energies. It is also beneficial to create energy constructs that serve as batteries for the same reason. Imagine 4 columns of white light positioned in the corners of the room, with a ball of light at the center. Advanced energy workers can refine this to personal taste, creating energy constructs specifically suited to the energies of the participants. Many people imagine that they need elaborate protections to conduct a séance. This is not so. It would help if you asked your guides to admit only appropriate spirits who wish or need to communicate, and they will see that this is the case. Having asked your guides to do this, you should trust them and know that only those spirits they have approved will speak. It can be good to sense, smudge, the space where the seance is to be conducted with cleansing herbs, such as sage or rosemary. This will help to cleanse the energy of the place. It is good to pray and meditate at the opening of the seance to establish a spiritual tone. It is also good to make a statement of purpose, stating that you have come together to speak with the spirits and are willing to talk only to spirits of goodwill or who need your help. The seance should begin at the time that has been set for it. If a series of seances is planned, they should ideally be charged for the same hour each time. This builds a pattern for both the sitters and the spirits, and is more important, especially when learning, than one might think. Once the seance begins, it should not be interrupted like a ritual. Interruptions will break the mood and make the process much harder. Phones should be turned off, and people should not be coming and going from the room. People should think of the bathroom before the seance, though allowances should, of course, be made when necessary. The potty dance does not help build concentration for anyone. A seance will work best when conducted by people with an established relationship, either pre-existing or built up throughout several seances. Successful seances can and are done with strangers, but tend to have less striking results because the rapport is less. Receiving messages in this way is a skill built up through experience. I would like to thank Pagan Corner for publishing my work. Thank you. By Brenda Sykes.